I really didn't know whether to make this video or not, because the last thing I want to do is to encourage your gas. In fact, I made a video about how to specifically avoid gas. I shall pop a card up there and a link to it in the description. And I've been very good. I haven't bought any new synth hardware for well over a year, although I do confess I have bought some pieces of music software. And this is specifically what I want to talk about. Now, G.A.S, in case you're wondering, stands for Gear Acquisition Syndrome. And it is a real thing. In internet marketing, they call it the shiny object syndrome. It's the belief that if you just buy this new thing, you will be a millionaire overnight. For us as synthesists, it's the belief or the hope that if we just get this new synth or this new effect, we will sound like our, insert your favourite artist's name here. Although sometimes it's even more simple than that. It just sounds cool and we want to play with it. Now the problem I sometimes have is that I sometimes feel guilty about buying a new piece of software. One reason is possibly because I have so much of the stuff already. I really do not need any more, even if it has got AI stuck in the blurb somewhere. But G.A.S is not about need, it's about want, isn't it? And that is a pretty difficult emotion to overcome. In the marketing world, there's a saying, sell the sizzle, not the sausage. And we, or I at least, find it very easily to get caught up with the smell of the sizzle. So if you've ever felt guilty, even a little bit, about buying a piece of music software, I'd like to tell you a story which illustrates how you might be able to offset any feelings of guilt. Well, it has worked for me, so if it's worked for me, I'm going to assume it may well work for other people as well. So here's what happened. I had an email from a company which offered me one of their plugins for $10. Now, these plugins normally retail for around $100, so this was a very good deal. But $10 now in the UK, that's probably about £8. Now, in some parts of the UK, you cannot buy a pint of beer for £8. Fortunately, I do not live in one of those parts. I can buy a pint of beer for £8 and get a reasonable amount of change as well. So in the broader scheme of things, $10 is not a lot of money. So why should I feel guilty about spending $10 on a piece of software? Well, apart from the fact that I just didn't need it, it seems to me in a sense to be a waste of money. I would play with the software and say, yeah, oh, that's cool, and forget about it. So I've been dithering over this, believe it or not, for days. And then a friend of mine came round and I was talking to him about it. And he said, well, let me have a look at it. So I got the sales page up on the screen and he went through the demos and he looked at the sounds and the presets. And he said, I think you should buy it. Now, I really didn't know what he was going to say. So I said, why? And he said, and this is the point, this is the takeaway. He said, there is so much in this that you will easily get more than £8 worth of entertainment value out of it. So if you think about it in those terms, it takes on a slightly different perspective. I'm not buying it to be part of my music arsenal. I'm buying it for entertainment, much as I might buy a pint, for example. Except the software will last a considerable time longer. And what he said makes perfect sense. If you go to the cinema in the UK, and I haven't been for years, if you've seen some of my other videos, you know I have a problem with my eye, so it's a bit of a waste of time for me. But I do believe the average ticket price is well over £8 now. So if you go to the cinema, get entertained for 2 hours, if I get 2 hours worth of entertainment just running through the presets and exploring this instrument, then that is the equivalent amount of entertainment. Another way to look at this is if I go out with friends, we'll have a few beers, we'll maybe go for a pizza, have a bottle of wine. So I could easily spend 40 or 50 pounds, often more sometimes, depending on where we end up, for a night's entertainment. Now, I have no guilt about that at all. I love meeting friends. I love talking to them. There's human contact there. We have great conversations. So I'm really happy to roll 50 quid, which I'll never see again, on an evening of entertainment, shall we say, but reluctant to spend 8 on something which may provide even more hours of entertainment and enjoyment. A lot not in the same way, of course. So I don't feel guilty about buying this piece of software, especially as it was such a good deal. So I'm just going to suggest that the next time you are thinking about buying a piece of software because you want it, not necessarily because you need it, and maybe there's a bit of friction and maybe you feel a little bit guilty about doing that, compare the entertainment value that you are likely to get from it to whatever else you may spend your money on. It's just another way of looking at it, and it alters the perspective slightly. Now, I am absolutely not suggesting at all that you apply this sort of criteria to everything you want. Go watch the How to Avoid Gas video. But especially if there's a really good deal on something which you would like to play with and see what it's like and explore, then perhaps this is a way to allow yourself to make the purchase without in any way feeling guilty. Now, I'm sure there are probably people watching this video who are thinking, I don't feel guilty about spending money on synthesizers. Well, thank you for watching this far. So I hope this has helped put some G.A.S purchases at any rate into perspective. The majority of us like synthesizers and make electronic music because we enjoy it. We certainly don't want to feel guilty about our hobby. Of course, if you were making money from it, then I'm sure these purchases will be a tax-deductible expense. Win-win. I hope you found this perspective interesting, more to the point, useful to you in your own personal circumstances. Let me know what you think and how you handle G.A.S or how you have given in to G.A.S. Let me know in the comments. Here's a couple of other videos which you may also find useful. As always, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again soon in the next one.